Hi there, it's Warwick Johnston here from SunWiz with another of our vodcasts. Today we're speaking with a special COVID special series that we're going to be running. Today we're speaking with Guy Olian from Energy Ease. Say g'day, Guy.
G'day, everybody.
And it seems like
Nice to be here, Warwick.
thanks, mate. And it seems like we've got a bit of a lag there between our offices. I suspect it's because everyone's using digital at the moment. We're going to have a chat through a few things today, but one of them we wanted to discuss, we've been having a chat offline, is that use of digital tools. And it seems like everyone's on the internet now using Zoom, and perhaps that's one of the reasons our connection has a bit of a lag in it. Tell me, how are you seeing digital affecting the way that your work is happening and the work of the solar industry is happening?
Look, so obviously, the word unprecedented has been thrown around a fair bit by everyone, both in our own business and in our clients' business and in our customers, being commercial clients who've gotten solar. So we've had all our staff working remotely for the past 10 days. We've had all meetings moved to virtual as of last week. So we're absolutely huge users of technology solutions like Zoom and like another solution that we called Starleaf to do both web demos, to talk and to stay in touch with our customers.
Yeah, great. I think we were discussing that it's just great that this is happening now in this digital age where we can all work from home and can still continue operating our businesses, and it's not like the GFC 10 years ago. Imagine if that had caused us all to have to work from home, would have been a complete shutdown. But certainly we're seeing a lot of Zoom interaction, and people are also not just having to learn to sell over the phone, but there's a degree that of human interaction gets lost there. So I think people should start to switch to selling using those Zoom teleconferences, etc., wherever they can. And the other one that's useful I found in my business is instant messaging. For those people who want a free version that's very powerful, Discord is a good one to look at too, a great tool. But you're also seeing that there's some digital tools that are happening in the finance space as well. I should have introduced you for people who don't know. A guy is from Energy Ease, and you provide finance for commercial solar systems. So tell us, what's the overlap with digital and finance for solar systems?
So look, we've been an online payment plan provider since we began the business, now 6 years ago. So we were sort of built to be in an online digital environment. Our whole platform does the credit decisioning and the paperwork generation on the spot, and allows for digital signatures and digital signing on the screen. And so we've really somehow been not necessarily born for this particular circumstances, but certainly the challenge of not being able to meet face-to-face works well with our technologies. And that's not to say that we anticipated this, no one would, but certainly our ability to be able to transact where, one person is sitting behind a computer, another person is sitting behind a computer in another location, and being able to execute agreements as well as credit decisions virtually and via technology is well and truly built into our DNA. That is actually how we work. And then I think what's been interesting is seeing how the sales process has been evolving in light of the current challenge, whereby people are really being forced to sell digitally and remotely because, let's be honest, many business owners are reluctant to meet face-to-face. So again, we're seeing a huge increase in the number of quotes being done on our platform in the last 2 weeks, as more and more people are turning towards digital tools throughout the entire sales process. And the other thing which we'll talk to is about the changing mix of products, which has come about as a result of some of the government support that the Morrison government in Australia is trying to push into the marketplace to try and help economic activity continue.
Yeah, and it seems that in uncertain times, then it's natural for businesses to just close up the purse and try and not spend and ride things through. The government's come out with instant tax write-off for businesses that they can now spend $150,000 and write that off. So from a solar perspective, that sort of means that you've gone from $30,000, maybe a 30 kilowatt system, up to in excess of a 100 kilowatt system, perhaps, being able to sell and get an instant tax write-off. Now, the thing I'm seeing is, as compared to other plant and equipment which a business might spend on, which actually means there are payments, send them backwards, perhaps, or give them an increased ability to supply customers that aren't there, perhaps, in the future. We just don't know that uncertainty. It's certain that they'll continue to use electricity, and it's certain that solar will actually increase their cash flow. So are you starting to see some of those things? Do you think that's what's behind the increased flow of quotes and running through your platform?
Yeah, so there's certainly been a change to what are called chattel mortgages. So under the this recent instant asset write-off that you spoke of, where customers or potential businesses can claim up to 150 grand ex GST. The way to do that, where there is a payment plan involved, is under a chattel mortgage arrangement, which is a loan, in which case they get both the ability to get solar for $0 up front, typically cash flow positive, as you mentioned, and then thirdly they get this instant asset write-off, which means that for something like a $150,000 transaction, they get a $45,000 tax refund on their next BAS bill, which is just a huge thing for businesses at the moment, whereby survival is really first and foremost in their minds. So like you said, the electricity bills are going to be a continuing overhead for a business. If you can reduce that and it's not really going to cost anything out of pocket, plus you get the ability to get up to $45,000 towards your tax bill. That is a really substantial government incentive, which is only available to June 30, to help try to kick people along through this period, which is, look, let's be honest, a very, very difficult trading period. And so it's really measures like this that I think the solar industry needs to be aware of, needs to understand, because these are absolutely whereby the government is trying to pull out all stops to keep the economy kind of moving along and keep things from seizing up and going into a deep freeze because of people's sort of lack of certainty.
Now, there's nothing helps you close a sale like a degree of urgency, and we can artificially create that as much as we like, but having a deadline of 30 June kind of means that people are incentivized to act swiftly. Are you seeing that solar businesses are just responding to more inbound flow of leads from other businesses, or are people actually going out there and actively chasing down commercial sales now that this incentive is there?
Well, look, you and I had a conversation about quotes. I think people in times of uncertainty generally put their head down as opposed to look up. That generally means that sort of inbound leads into clients is slowing down. You really need to go out there and talk to customers and say, hey, listen, yes, times are tough, but if you think that this is a 6-month thing, or even a 12-month thing, but in essence, you can see yourself getting through this, then solar as a method of reducing your overheads today is something that you should really consider, particularly if you can do it without spending any of your money. Because I know, Mr. Business Owner, that you probably want to be stashing cash at the moment, right? So the fact that it's positively geared, the fact that it's going to be helping you out with your tax bill, is something that I think most business owners, particularly the ones that can see that there is going to be an end to this, are going to be really favorably looking at. But to get that message across, it's very much a direct sales type methodology where you've got to get out there in front of these clients and tell them about these things. They're unlikely to be spending their night times researching on Google commercial solar at the moment, just because it's a bit of all hands on deck.
Yeah, sure. And one of the interesting questions that arises then is, how can the solar businesses find those customers? Is it just a matter of going through the yellow pages from A to Z? And we suggest that's probably not the best approach. It's a very scattergun. The best thing we can see is, well, firstly, if you've been providing quotes out to commercial, potential commercial sales for the last year or two, then you've probably got quite a few that haven't proceeded. Now, they're the people you should go back to instantly. You've already got some relationship with them, built some rapport, and they've had something in front of them, probably at a price that's higher than what you'd offer today due to the system prices coming down. And maybe they're very happy with that price and want to act on it immediately. Maybe you'll be able to sweeten the deal a bit by bringing it down. The other part of it, however, is that if you don't have that customer database then you could go and look at which of the industries that have been had greatest uptake of solar, which of the locations had greatest uptake of solar, commercial solar, and those two questions, as well as a database of potential solar customers that are more likely to buy, things you should come and contact SunWiz about, because that's something we've been developing and can accelerate that for you if that's of interest. So get in touch with us. Guy, are you seeing that there's any credit issues out there? Finance is tightening the purse strings in some way. Is it the case that if you want to get a loan, kind of now's a good time to do it rather than waiting a couple of months when you may not be able to get that money? Or you think that the purse is still going to remain open because the government's acting as that backstop?
So firstly, the government backstop is only on actual commercial business loans, so working capital solutions, not equipment-backed solutions. So that's one thing to understand. Number two, absolutely, we've seen a fair few industries really suffering, and the speed with which their businesses have really suffered. So hospitality, tourism, events have all really started to hurt in a really short space of time. I mean, we're talking not even a month, and some businesses have had an 80% reduction in revenue in that time. What many of our partners are doing from a funding line point of view is allowing up to 6-month payment holidays for these clients, much like their business loans. So effectively extending the terms of their agreements by an extra 6 months to give everyone time to get through this. But the other, which was your first question around, are we still open for business? We're absolutely open for business. We understand that business needs to keep transacting during this time, that the absolute worst thing to do is to just completely seize up and have no business, because that's really how you get into a serious depression type situation. So we are absolutely open. I think some smaller lenders are going to really suffer because their credit lines are going to get impacted. This is kind of like the GFC behind the scenes, but certainly our balance sheet and liquidity is really, really strong. We're absolutely open for business. We recognise that some industries are suffering and we need to accommodate those. But by and large, if we stop supporting solar companies and helping them to actually transact with their clients, then we're really doing a disservice to the industry. And we are really absolutely behind this industry and very, very keen to keep growing and helping solar companies to keep selling as much as they can.
Yeah, look, likewise, we're really up for and always have been for helping solar businesses to sell, helping them to grow, etc. And so if you're in a situation where you're struggling or having confusions or doubt, then please reach out to us. We'll be running a series of vodcasts to help you with ideas and identify what other companies are doing so that we can all ride through this together. It's really a time for community. You might have heard my son running in the background. It's a time where the masks we wear as business people may come down, and the customers you're talking with may also have their children running around the background. It's a great way of bonding and connecting and being real. And those relationships are useful, especially in this time for us personally, internally, but also potentially for us commercially as well. So let's all stick
Absolutely.
together.
We've been having many virtual coffees. Just the last weekend, we had a 4-way dinner party where we had 4 different families getting together online via Zoom to have a dinner party. It's absolutely a new way of being, and that flexibility that you speak of is really critical to everyone getting through this. I don't think we can. Yes, we got to be serious about it and take all the government messages very seriously, but it's also about a flexibility in being able to get things done.
Yeah, true. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much for having a chat with me and sharing
Thank
your
you.
thoughts with everybody. And stay tuned for more updates over the coming weeks.
Always
See
a
you, everybody.
pleasure, Warwick. Thank you. Bye.